Super excited to introduce to all of you such an esteemed panel for today's discussion. The panelists we have today come from businesses that are household names for all of Indians, from Zepto, Myntra, Wellness Forever. These are businesses that we as consumers order groceries, medicines, and fashion lifestyle products on a day-to-day basis. What's also special about these businesses that they have solved the varying challenges that India poses when it comes to the last mile delivery. So without further ado, let's get started. And I'd like to invite our panelists for a quick introduction about themselves and the companies they work with. So over to you, Bhavik.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Bhavik. I work for Myntra. I'm a senior director for product management, encompassing areas around whole of supply chain outbound, which includes contact center, customer experiences, warehousing, logistics, marketplace, and Omni channel. Super delighted to be part of this, Dhruv, and really looking forward to the session.
Welcome to the panel, Bhavik. Over to you, Haarshal.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Really nice meeting everyone. I'm Haarshal. I had the Omni channel and Hyperlocal business at Wellness Forever. What this means is all the non-footfall revenue that comes from our app, web, and ecosystem partners is what my team and I drive here. And yeah, looking forward to this discussion and getting some more insights than I share, I think.
Great. Welcome to the panel, Haarshal. We have a final panelist, Vikas, as well. Over to you, Vikas, for a brief introduction.
Hey, thanks, Dhruv. Folks, my name is Vikas Sharma. I am right now taking care of supply chain operations and customer experience at Zepto. Prior to this, I was with a bunch of startups, Flipkart, Pepperfry, overall 10 plus years into this industry. I'm really excited to build something for a quick commerce delivery model, which all of us have started getting evolved to that kind of behavior now. So looking forward for an exciting discussion.
Great. Thanks, Bhavik, Haarshal, and Vikas. So yeah, we'll jump onto the discussion. So I think we have some great learnings from the panel here from delivering to 1 billion people in India, right? So I'll start with the first topic of discussion. So one of the most important pieces and often ignored part of the puzzle is the whole driver experience, how well we manage the driver workforce in the last mile and how it affects the eventual customer experience. It is estimated that there are over 10 million delivery agents operating at a daily level in India, right? So I'll start with you, Vikas. What would be some of the strategies that you would like to share with the audience here while managing and engaging and as well as retaining these driver workforce? One of the most important topics of discussion these days is the driver safety, which all of us here agree should be of utmost importance. So it would be great for us to hear from you on this.
Sure, Dhruv. So before jumping into answering the question, I'll just give a small context to everyone. I think we all must have seen across our streets, every nook and corner, some or the other food delivery boys specifically, where to the likes of Swiggy, Zomato, where you see a lot of delivery boys delivering across the street. So one of the pertinent challenge, if you just see, step back and see how their day spans out. So generally it spans out from one part of the city and the incentives and the structure has been designed such that they continuously being asked to work for 10, 12 hours. And at the end of the day, they end up somewhere 15, 20 kilometers away from the other part of the city. And when they do all these deliveries, they go through multiple hassles, right? From non-availability of personal hygiene, which is like water, washroom, to the likes of basically parking space issues. Then, of course, tackling around with the RTO and the policemen across the city. So this is something I would say the largest fleet which is available in the market, which we have seen. I'll just now jump into the quick commerce model, where you have a designated space, a dark store model, where we basically do deliveries across the radius of 2 to 3 kilometers, which is in the vicinity. So the first and foremost, what we are trying to solve for them is they get a designated location from where they can operate and they don't have to hassle across the city. The second important piece is solving the personal hygiene, which is we ensure that the water facility is being provided to everyone at free of cost, no charges. We don't even monitor those expenses as the organization level to ensure that this is something is a basic need for everyone. So that is to be provided. The second thing is like providing them the adequate space to sit inside the store. Then we are working on even changing our layout to the extent that someone can accommodate in that space, and we create enough people for that during the long or queue hours they can sit around. Thirdly is about the washrooms. We create dedicated washrooms, and to a certain extent we tie up with the surroundings of 100-meter where we can ensure that someone can go and access that at a free of cost. So these are some basic things which we do, but I see over and above that, there are certain other things while providing the insurance piece, which is very, very critical, especially when you have seen multiple waves of COVID. And not only for them, it's also about their family, where they need to take care of their family as well. And going to the extent of basically giving someone additional credit facilities, doctor on call. So all of that are, I would say, some initial steps which we have taken as an organization. And we have even went to the extent where we see some dark stores where food accessibility is difficult. So we do free lunches and dinner for them so that they don't have to go outside to scout for food. And we don't ask them to pay for that. That's a free of cost. And we have tried out across a few locations, and we have seen that the retention has improved because now people do not have to go extended hours and then come back. So these are some of the things which we are taken as an initiative for the organization and trying to solve the last mile piece. I'm sure there are a bunch of other areas which, especially when someone is going on road, there are some minor accidents or some hassles which a person face. I see that we are working towards the solution, but still you don't have a perfect solution. So this is one area I think as an organization we are looking for it, but I see as an industry also we can think about there will be a lot of tech enablements which can be made in order to solve that purpose. Lastly, I would like to just talk about this delivery model where people generally have a perception that in 10 minutes you have to deliver, so you have to write fast. So just give one stat that on an average, it takes roughly around 7-8 minutes for a person to deliver. And it is the average kilometer is 1.5 to 2. So the average speed is around 15 kilometers per hour, which is not very high. And max, it goes to 25-30. So we go to the extent of monitoring those speeds for the person. So if there is someone crossing a certain limit, we even go to the level of alerting and giving them some kind of a basically coaching and structuring mechanism so that people don't go beyond that limit. And for their safety, we create an emergency room where if someone faces some issue, they have a single point of contact, which will ensure that they come out of the situation very fast. So these are some of the things which I think are very critical to take care of these people.
I mean, great insights, Vikas, and it's commendable the way even at an organization level, this has been a strong focus for you, and the policy that you built around the engagement of drivers are really commendable. Continuing on this discussion, I would like to ask Bhavik for some of his insights on how technology can help some of the problems that Vikas has mentioned, and some of your insights, how you have deployed technology to solve problems around workforce management.
Sure, Dhruv. No, absolutely. I think so. Absolutely. I think see, Myntra runs one of the largest variabilized last mile network, right? And it goes right from DCs, the micro DCs or Dexters as we call it internally, and then obviously the whole delivery network or the fleet that we have, right? And we started this whole opportunity at scale, and we were one of the early adopters, if you see, a few years back, right? So so when you depend the whole last mile of yours, right, at scale depends on partner ecosystem, right? it became absolutely important, one, obviously, to understand what are their need states, and second, how do we, bring as much as technology as possible, because at a scale that we operate, it would be impossible to address those areas, right? So largely what we did is we divided this into 3 or 4 different areas, right? And some of this I think very well captured. So one is the whole social safety part of it, right? Like, how do the partner feel that he is working in an environment which provides him self-esteem, recognition, want to be heard kind of a feeling, right? So we run multiple, so one, obviously the whole onboarding process is so smooth. The whole, from technology perspective, the whole onboarding is automated. Their ability to reach their, success partners on the Myntra side is, very, very streamlined. There are direct call kind of opportunities that they have. There are gamification been built at each of this level, and not incentivization. That is a separate story altogether. This is purely on recognition in terms of providing them, the whole. Largely some of these partners are nothing but the small kirana partners or small retailers in those cities or in those smaller towns, right? So it's absolutely important to create also a consistency of business for them, right? So if they can foresee what kind of business planning has been done for me, what kind of packages should I expect on day-to-day basis, so that he does some sort of manpower management. So all of this access to information, access to recognition, access to to be able to talk, to be able to pass feedback, was one big area of social esteem that we kind of addressed. The second aspect, I think, again covered to some extent, is the financial security of this, safety of this particular partner, right? So how do we create, and COVID obviously was a big eye opener, right? When it was easy for, because it's a variabilized network, largely, performance driven, or, paper packet kind of a, it was very easy for businesses to not support this ecosystem or let go of this ecosystem, right? So even during, I think the biggest use case or the biggest story for Myntra is that we ensured that through this whole odd time when, when the business was lean, we ensured there was one, consistency of business. Second, we opened up credit lines. Third, we opened up insurance. We started prepay models. So basically, we kind of paid certain credits or paid, money in advance rather than, waiting for the delivery to happen, or, proof of delivery coming in, all right. So to ensure that the financial security of this particular partner has been taken care. And the third aspect is the the individual safety, which includes both the customer side as well as, and this is where we, I think, again, invest heavily. And when we talk about physical safety, I think we covered it in terms of accidents or speed, and speed at which they travel, etc. But the two other big area which we generally are intangible to a level, which is trust and safety, right? One, you have a completely variabilized network, so we are onboarding so many players every day. How do you create trust in this ecosystem, proliferate? Because all of this is going to be directly, one, impacting the credibility of the partner themselves, or it can also be, it eventually means the credibility of the platform itself, or the credibility of the customer, right? And how do we ensure that the right data points are captured, right decisions are being made, attribution models are being created in a way where we are able to understand whom to trust if there is a glitch, right? And the sub part of is the larger fraud protection, right? How do I keep my partners protected if there is a fraud? Because the first thing which will happen is, we will start questioning them, right? Like if there is any, how do we ensure that again, the attribution models are so accurately built, or we have enough evidence has been captured end to end from tech perspective to take those decisions, support our partners, because the whole the criminal aspects of this, right, where they have a very, very large liability, at least in the fashion and lifestyle kind of a category, they need to be felt protected, because if police turns up next day, the social security of this. So basically trust and safety, end-to-end visibility, forward planning, availability of credit, fraud protection. Some of these areas are, where we kind of became an early adopters. Large part of our stack is built in-house. We have a whole technology/data science team internal to Myntra. So last few years have been, been doing tremendous investments in this area.
Great. No, I mean, some very interesting points, and Bhavik, I think, a lot of things that you touched upon also at Shipsy are part of the objectives in terms of the technology that we power. So now coming to, Haarshal, what have been some of your experiences or insights with dealing with the workforce that caters to a varied form of e-commerce where you have both quicker delivery, a bit later deliveries as well. So, what they would, and especially with the whole life pharmacy product, there might be certain way these products need to be handled, right? So I can definitely expect a lot of learning or the training aspect that is very, very important here. So what have been some of your insights and kind of training your workforce and keeping them up to date with how to handle the products that you deliver?
So I think, between Bhavik and Vikas, while they've covered, significant aspects of driver safety, 2-3 things that we did extra or we saw that we had to solve for. One of the biggest ones, given that we are in the, essential services space. So during COVID, it became very important for us to ensure not only driver safety in the sense of hygiene, but also, kind of giving them first opportunities along with our store staff to get vaccinated, in order to ensure that not only the customer, but also they feel safe when they are stepping out. Another big thing that we saw is, given that medicines, like you rightly touched upon, training is a very important aspect. And not just handling, given that we have to deliver stuff in a tamper-proof packaging, right? A wrong delivery, a leak of a chemical can be very devastating and could have consequences to the customer. So ensuring that it's packed and delivered in a hyperlocal geography without any damage requires a lot of training and incentivization. What we've been receiving a lot of feedback from customers, and which is, I think, food for thought for a lot of grocery and pharma players, is that customers are like, because there could be issues with the wrong delivery of a medicine, or say a leaked medicine. I think when they have to when they receive something that is not up to the mark, a lot of processes on the returns and refund side are, post delivery someone else comes to pick up, right? So is there a way we can look at an open box delivery where pilferage is not an issue? So those are some of the things that have come up, given that there is a need for contactless deliveries, there is a need for quick resolution, be it medicines, there is instant requirement and instant resolution if there is any issue happening, right, at the time of delivery or even post delivery. And these are some of the instances we've seen a lot of backlash where the customer unfortunately unleashes their wrath on the delivery boy, who's the last touch point, after the web app and the customer care. So for us to ensure that, how to deal with such situations in a calm and composed way, and ensuring the least collateral damage has been one of the biggest drivers of behavioral training that we're dealing with. And given that most of our last mile delivery drivers are at a very young and aggressive age, we've kind of, we're looking at this as not only a challenge but a huge opportunity to go beyond, and while they can deal with the customer properly, but also kind of enhance customer experience at the time of delivery, not just by simply handing over the parcel seamlessly, but also taking feedback upfront, and requesting a check and stuff like that. So these are some of the things that we've been doing extra over and above, what Bhavik and Vikas have already covered.
Great. I think, it's combined a lot of interesting insights for the group. I'll just touch upon one point which you mentioned about open box delivery, and I'm sure Vikas has some insights and thoughts on that. I'll just quickly, Vikas, if you can shed some light on open box delivery and your experience with that, I think it will be very interesting for the audience present here.
Yeah. So I have 2 experiences. One, when I was at Thakker when we used to deliver furniture, and one is quick commerce, and in between that work with Flipkart also. So so first I will quickly cover I think everyone would be excited to know about the bulky part, which is the furniture where we used to do the open delivery. So it was in early 2015 where there are no 3PL dedicated partners who have built that capability to deliver big box supply chain at the doorstep and getting that trust from the customers. So we started as a new concept at 100% open delivery, and that was one of the metric. And initially when we started with a lot of josh and ensure that okay, this is something going to be the next game changer in the entire industry. And there were a lot of eye openers when we did that open delivery, because we did that with very limited product capability initially. And it was like a lot of times customer used to say that okay, I did not like this so far. After you open that bulky item and then you get that feedback, getting that item back itself is a big hassle, because now you have got a route plan and you have to break that route plan, and you have to also do all the loading unloading hassle. So this was some of the struggles we faced, and then we thought of building a product and the mechanism that how to manage this process. So in that case we got some of the image capturing process, that in case if the customer is unhappy with the open delivery, so whether the customer is fine that in the reverse haul can we pick up, is fine having that product during that time. If not, then we can pick instantly, and we can also go with the instant refund for sure. The vehicle were designed in such a way that you always have a last in first out, but you also have some room in space, assuming that if any of such hassle comes while you are on the route, you will be able to manage that. So we build a partition inside the vehicle with a wooden plate and kind of a lot of jugaad into that to give in India, when there is some simple innovation, we call it jugaad for the international audience. So this was something was enabled very quickly, and we saw that this was giving us a lot of results in terms of very high retention from the customer. So someone who did not like, but we were honest enough to take that product back, that has led to over 50% retention in the category like furniture, which is very, very difficult to see, because that's not a usual category where you see very high retention. Now, switching back from furniture to directly, I would say quick commerce. So when you see in quick commerce, we generally intend to see the customer behavior, because there are a lot of products like fruits, vegetables, which are somewhere subjective in nature. And at many occasions, customer thinks that when you do an open delivery, there is probability that your RTO may go up, your part RTO may go up, which is generally customer may say that, okay, this is one item where I don't want, please take this back. The entire hassle of bringing that product back to the dark store and then again putting that into the inventory, that itself is a longer hassle. So we used to do, when I was taking care of the hyperlocal at Flipkart, and initially when we started, of course, there were awareness and the change to be required. So our part RTO used to stand at a higher number. And later on, when we implemented a lot of product solves and also did like a quality check when we are basically picking, packing, and ensuring that before you hand it over to the last mile delivery boy, the additional check can be done, because there are some temperature sensitive items also, where despite you put them under the cold storage, still customer feels that, okay, this is not as per what I'm expecting as a temperature, like a butter or a cheese kind of items. So there are different challenges, temperature, subjectivity, all that. And I still say there is a room for innovation and solve over here in this space. But to certain extent, I say the quality check and quality check at different legs, removing your bottlenecks will help you to eradicate your problems to substantial extent. And the last piece would be the packaging, that how you ensure that there's a temperature control packaging when you ensure that the items are delivered at the doorstep. So like we do ice creams today in a different packaging altogether, so that even if during hot summer, if someone is getting that ice cream, it should not get damaged, and it should be in the physical condition where someone can consume it at the time of delivery.
I think great learnings, and I think we've come a long way now from there in terms of technology, how technology now can help do better quality check at the doorstep with things like AI and image analysis. being in place. So yeah, I think great points. I'll jump on to the next question. So we have a very interesting question from the audience as well. Anybody from the panel can take it up. I'll just announce the question. So India, like many other APAC regions, has a huge disparate sectors in both business and consumer markets. The huge manpower availability and an average living standard scenario facilitates cheap labor and less opinionated people about job conditions and incentive. Do you think these and other regional conditions have propelled the popularity of quick commerce and e-commerce in general? So Bhavik, would you like to take this up?
See, I think so. I think more than this, I think why it is flourishing in India is also the aspiration of these people, right? This is not about having not having opinion or not having equal opportunities is not what businesses are built on. I think what businesses are built on is by creating opportunities. If they did not, so imagine the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, towns in the country, right, where there were limited options in terms of work, in terms of learning, in terms of earning, right? So I think what is India thriving on, both quick commerce, e-commerce, is the whole the opportunity that they are creating, the ability to still work without larger commitment, which is be a complete owner of your own work practice, right? So may it be a cab driver, may it be a biker, may it be a kirana store, right? All of this is creating additional income, early stage income, supporting their families, supporting their own ambitions. I have examples of women empowerment in Myntra. We have examples how women's are, one of our warehouses in Gurgaon, right, are 80 to 100% women workforce, right? And then you have people who are supporting their education because this gave them an early stage lifestyle, access to some earnings, right, which eventually they were investing in themselves, getting educated for a better, higher jobs, right? I have multiple cases where I've seen that people who somebody who started as a delivery boy has become a DC manager at some point, right? So they've grown in their careers, they've become more aspirational, they got that incremental opportunity. So I think it's not about yes, we have manpower, yes, we have those lack of opportunities, but I think what e-commerce is thriving, or some of these businesses are thriving on, is ambitions of these people. And now, because of the digital nature of a lot of our business, it's well distributed and available to the larger segment across the country.
So some very interesting point there, Bhavik. So yeah, moving on to the next question, next topic of discussion. So one of the major topics of discussion in logistics is the whole how to scale without burning too much money, right? So you have a lot of variables at play here: how to get your first attempt right, how to reduce RTOs, how to handle cash better, as well as at the same time ensure that you have positive, near positive unit economics, right? So over there, Haarshal would like to ask you what have been your learnings in terms of managing scale as well as the cost together.
Sure. So I'll take the unit economics part first, right? And a lot of, given that almost a decade ago I was in the online grocery space where we would boast about the fastest delivery within 4 hours, and now likes of Vikas already delivering in 10 minutes, and at that time we stuck to our basics and looked at planned delivery models where we could ensure that the van utilization or the rider utilization was at its peak, and then you kind of build a fixed plus variable kind of a capacity in order to ensure that your peak loads are managed well. We've actually reached a point where, in order to reach the customer fastest, one, we have to be the closest, right? So by virtue of Wellness Forever being a omni-channel player where we have our stores within a 3 to 5 kilometer radius of where we deliver, we've started exploring hybrid models of not just having multiple, types of uh, last mile delivery providers, fixed and variable with us. But we've actually taken some inspiration from the mom and pop medical chains, and even one of the most profitable QSR, chain, which is Domino's, where we started understanding, how are these people, staying relevant in the same market with significantly low fixed costs, with the same kind of assortment, and still managing to deliver at least 30 to 40% of the loads during COVID, without having an app or web or anything. And we realized that, I think we saw an era of specialists where in a warehouse or a company, we saw a lot of last mile teams, picking, packing teams, and warehousing teams. And what we realized when we took inspiration from QSR and mom and pop retailers is that they are all about being generalists, right? During peak loads, you utilize outside help, but during lean loads, you utilize yourselves and kind of try to cut down costs. And that was one of the biggest insight which we've been trying to pilot. Another thing in the previous discussion, while courier partners, courier players are looking at not attempting more deliveries and incentivizing customers for a pickup, we ourselves, by virtue of having the physical reach, launching Bopis as a pilot, buy online, pickup at store, where we are going to start incentivizing customers to come and pick up from our stores. And I don't think that's going to, again, there's the jury's still out there, but such as some of the innovative models that we're trying to dabble with, there is no way there is no way that we want to kind of keep the customer experience at bay when we think of fastest delivery. Yes, delivering customer experience in these days is expensive, but yeah, at the same time, I think given the kind of market dynamics that are going on globally and in India now, it's becoming more and more important to be bottom line efficient. So cracking the right model is our goal currently, and that's how these are some 2-3 levers we're trying to pilot. When we talk about reducing returns, for us at least, more it happens more in the courier orders rather than hyperlocal orders, because hyperlocal is usually for medicines and lifestyle products, is typically a planned buy, like a shampoo or FMCG product, or an impulse buy or a prescribed buy, right? But what happens in courier deliveries is, if the TAT is longer than expected, or customers, now have the option of, okay, they'll place an order on the app, who's promising them a 2-3 day delivery at a cheaper cost. But the minute they get the urge or the access to a better deal and a faster delivery, there is an instant kind of switch in loyalty, and they know that they have an option to return at the doorstep. So what we've started doing is, trying to reduce or trying to cap the amounts on which we allow cash on delivery, trying to cap or trying to sell in MOQs, which allows us to afford a return delivery. All this is keeping in mind that the customer doesn't have to compromise on their experience, right? But at the same time, it becomes more of a viable proposition for both of us. So those are some of the levers we're trying to pull. But I would still say very, very early days to tell you what the right model is, I think, Yeah.
I think when you talk about returns and cash delivery, I think Bhavik would have some great insights, especially with apparel. I think it's like an inherent challenge how to tackle with returns. And I think Myntra has tried so many different models there, try and buy, and some of those insights, Bhavik would love to hear from you on that.
No, absolutely. I think, see, overall, when we look at returns or RTOs, right, we kind of break this into two larger parameters, right? One is what is important from customer experience perspective, and second is obviously the efficiency of this whole experience creation from cost perspective, right? So one, as I think we discussed, right, like the whole last mile is variabilized. So to that extent, the flexibility exists, right? Like we can flex it to any level. Key events in the year like URS, etc. That kind of flex for 10x kind of a scale, right? So let's look at the experience part of it, right? So the first, from returns perspective, I think not many people in industry do, right? So one, one we do the whole doorstep refunds kind of. So we have a large green channeling, so it's a data science model. So a large percentage of our customers are pre-processed, pre-green channeled, a significant amount even no QC kind of customers. So basically zero question asked at doorstep. We pick close box, whatever customer gives, we probably pick it, right? And then there is a one step kind of a QC, which is a doorstep QC. Even within that doorstep QC, we have the whole TNS models running in which we kind of figure out if it we attribute if the product is a missing brand tag or a wrong product getting returned, etc. In terms of, is it a pilferage, is it a seller, is it a customer, and try to again not create a bad doorstep experience from a customer perspective that it was rejected at doorstep. So a lot of investments have gone in this area. One, to ensure that the doorstep handshake is very, very seamless. Second, how can we quickly refund to the customer so that they do not have to go into a whole anxiety period in terms of we picking the product and the refunds yet not credited to them. The third aspect which we kind of invested is so even if for some reason, right, the doorstep return is rejected, we do not cancel that return. So there is an auto ROH, so return on hold kind of a process that we have created. And this is return on hold, immediately an investigation process has been triggered and a proactive communication been done to ensure that the customer anxiety is kept in control, right? So, last 2 years have been like, we had a significant amount of ROH at doorstep, kind of ensured that it's gone to like a very, very low single digit kind of a number now. And we continue to invest in this area. In terms of differentiated experiences, as you rightly said, we right now support hand-in-hand exchange. So we started with a typical size exchange kind of thing where you can exchange one size for another size for the same product, which kind of make sure that your returns, if customer has an intent, he'll just probably buy a different size. So from customer's perspective, it's a kind of a price guarantee. They do not have to kind of pay extra if the discounts, etc., are removed, and they can just change the size. From last 1.5 years, we now exchange style exchange, which is like exchange any style for any style, right? One, it kind of creates kind of ability from customers' perspective that they do not have to wait for refunds if they all, and this is all data backed, right? So we knew that 60% of our returns converted into a immediate order, right, in say 3 days or a week to follow kind of. So why not just offer that option to customer rather than they waiting for refunds and then reordering? Can there be an opportunity to just do a service? Try and buy again, open box deliveries are multiple such initiatives that we have experimented, piloted in past, but they're not kind of scaled. But yeah, I think we continue to be remaining committed to improving the whole return experience, ensuring the anxiety-less deliveries, anxiety-less return experience, and the whole refund experience becomes very, very seamless. One thing we also do in probably fashion lifestyle kind of a category, it's very difficult to crack, right? Even probably our group company doesn't offer that kind of ability, is the day zero pickup, right? So Myntra, same day or same day pickup is close to 30%, and a day one pickup is close to 85%. So literally, we have kind of praised, we've been praised on social media, multiple channels, customer NPS scores, etc. If you see, right, literally, it's like you request a return, and pretty much in few hours you'll see somebody coming at your home to pick it up, right? Which again makes sure that the customer remains in that shopping stage, right? They if they bought something, they return something, then they want to again buy something. The whole opportunity and the shopping state of the customer is not lost, and all of this come at the whole day zero pickup is very, very deeply integrated into our forward deliveries, right? So the same guy who is going to say drop something in the same locality gets an auto embedding of a return ticket as well, right? So it's a dynamic planning routing kind of a capability that has been built, which ensures that both forward plus reverse is utilized within the same fleet. So So yeah, it's a big area of opportunity, I would say. And a right return experience, will just make sure that your customers are converted and the customers are retained, right? Because that's where you create a very less commerce.
Great points. Quick time check here. So we have a very important question. I want to keep 5 minutes for that on sustainability. Quick comments from Vikas. I know you've been asked this question so many times. So if you can try to keep it short on the whole efficiency and unit economics perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Dhruv. Very important piece. I think we all must be thinking about sustainability. So quick pointers on what we are thinking about that. So of course, the industry is moving towards the EVs. So definitely the traction is there. But as we progress, I'm sure there will be a lot of change in the EV. One, I think the bigger problem statement right now is the battery life and the longer distance one can cover. Along with that, the cost of basically purchasing a new EV. So I think both of those areas needs to be addressed before this can actually scale across the entire last mile fleet. I think we're able to solve that, and the enabler part is something like a charging station. But those, I think, is something testimony to someone can provide from the location itself, which is enabled from the dark store, get an additional wiring cabling done. And so this is one area where it's one of the important levers. The second area where we are thinking is something cycles. I think cycles and of course electric cycles. But this is something we got to know that from the European and the US markets, where a lot of quick commerce companies adopted that model, and it has been successful because you have to go 1.5 to 2 kilometers. Someone can pedal quickly and deliver faster. It will be both managing the experience, because in the traffic time you don't have to wait on the signal. You can go through the cross path and reach to the customer faster. You can use shortcuts, and at the same time it is cost effective. And the most important piece is it gives job to people who does not have money to buy cycles or any vehicles. So you can, it's a pitch is that you can come to our stores, we give you cycles, go ahead and do deliveries, and it's a win-win for all of us. So
yeah. Oh, great. Now coming to going a bit deeper on the sustainability part now, with more customers becoming conscious about the choice that they make. So how do the panelists see here from a technology play perspective? At Shipsy, we are constantly looking at giving the visibility to our customers in terms of various decision making from a purely carbon footprint perspective as well, giving multiple options. Where a user can actually choose to have a delivery maybe a little bit slower but much more environmental friendly way. So how do you are you guys working on something where you try to build sustainability element within your logistics operations of operating models? Maybe Bhavik, if you want to take up.
So I think Flipkart Group has obviously already committed, 100% migration to EVs by 2030. We're part of EV 100 global community, and see across our supply chain, may it be minimal use of plastic, paper usage, shrinking the size of our labels to 40% of our small vehicles, right? Vans are now replaced by EVs, right? So I think as a group, we are committed, across the, across the country. The pilots are already initiated in terms of replacing this, but specifically, I think customer assessment. I think few experiments we are running purely to understand, what is the sensitivity of customer towards sustainability, more on selection side, right? So there are brand experiments that we are running, there are material experiments that we're running, etc. Probably last mile more relevant for quick commerce because it's more habitual shopping, regular shopping, right? Day-to-day basis. Probably carbon footprint and customer education can become a big opportunity for sure.
No, wonderful. Haarshal, any comments from your side on the whole sustainability element?
Yeah. So I think over and above what Vikas covered across EVs and maybe looking at cycles or even those zip scooters, right, which are like charge and discharge kind of models. Those are things that are already running as pilots. One big thing that we're trying to, while being a hyperlocal omni-channel player, we're trying to incentivize customers to do a planned delivery for non-impulse products, and kind of waiving off the hyperlocal delivery fee. Those are some of the models we're looking at in order to ensure that there are fewer trips by a single biker, which happens in the hyperlocal area, and they can get it with one vehicle taking many more loads together. And I think with technology, what we're also trying to solve is all sooner, which will happen is all deliveries within a few hundred meters will only be done by cycles, and the others will probably use motored vehicles. But yeah, I mean the challenge remains, on the EV side, the payload factor, the recharge rate, and the speeds. There is, and of course the cost of acquiring a EV is all yet to be solved for, and the recharging mechanism and maintenance and repairs. The whole infrastructure in the country is far behind the kind of demand that the customers or the green initiative is trying to generate. So I think those gaps, once those get addressed, we'll be more equipped to deal with sustainability as a problem compared to now.
Wonderful. Thanks for the views, guys, on this. I think we've run out of time here. So I'll take this opportunity to thank our esteemed panelists for such an insightful session. We covered some great topics around last mile. With this, I'll hand it over to Reza.